Hi, everyone. Excuse me. I wanted to talk to you today about something maybe a little bit different, and that is verification. So, it is a very important topic for us, as you know. We are a cryptographic random verification agent network. And so, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that means, what that entails, but also to explain a little bit what we mean by verification. Verification is something that is around us all the time, every day. From as simple as getting a two-factor authentication on your phone, as putting in a password, put in your thumbprint or fingerprint onto the phone to unlock it. Right, the system has to verify that that is in fact your password, that that is in fact your fingerprint as it's registered on the phone. And so verification is something that is constantly around us. And so verification networks represent specialized infrastructure layers. So in blockchain ecosystem, that focuses specifically on validating, verifying, and securing transactions and data across decentralized systems. So, unlike basic consensus mechanisms that simply validate blocks, verification networks provide dedicated services for ensuring correctness, authenticity, and integrity in blockchain operations. When we talk about core functions, there are a few. Of course, the first one being transaction validation, right? Verification networks examine transactions to confirm validity, including verifying, sufficiency of funds, adherence to protocol guidelines, proper cryptographic signing with the sender's private key. So they prevent double spending attacks and ensure transaction format compliance. Block verification is beyond, let's say, individual transactions. The networks scrutinize entire blocks to ensure that they adhere to predetermined size constraints and cryptographic rules of the blockchain. So this safeguards the integrity of the entire blockchain by preventing inclusion of invalid or malicious blocks. Then we have consensus participation, or verification networks actively engage in consensus mechanisms, which represent the process by which the network reaches agreement on the current state of the blockchain. Validators work collaboratively to achieve consensus on transactions, and they safeguard the integrity and the functionality of the system. And then we have cryptographic security, which of course is where the verification blockchain relies heavily on cryptographic techniques to verify the authenticity of transactions and blocks, authenticity of blocks as well. And this prevents, or the cryptographic security prevents, the unauthorized modifications to the blockchain ledger. Um, there are different layers, let's say, of validation, but I think the most interesting and most relevant one for us is the actively validated services, so or AVS, as they're called. So a significant part of what goes into this in the evolution, let's say, of verification networks is the emergence of actively validated services. So blockchain-based systems that use restaking mechanisms to support unique validation methods. So these architectures can involve four key players, let's say. So first we have restakers, then we have operators, then we have the AVSs themselves, which are decentralized services benefiting from pooled security. And then we have the AVS users, right? The end users or applications that are interacting with these services. An important one, for example, is Oracle networks. We know that in blockchain, we use Oracle networks all the time. They represent really a critical type of verification infrastructure um, because they connect the blockchain to external systems. And since blockchains are purely isolated from external systems to maintain security properties, oracles provide a gateway to off-chain resources while upholding the blockchain security, right? And so oracles will query and verify external data sources, then relay the data into the blockchain in the form of a transaction, forming an authoritative record. For example, decentralized oracle networks enable smart contracts to react to real world events like sports match costumes, outcomes, sorry, not costumes, or whether, let's say, data for insurance applications is correct or not. Right? We have modular verification layers, which are modern blockchain architectures, increasingly adopting. And these modular approaches, verification is separated, let's say, into dedicated layers. Usually, modular proof verification offloads the computational costs of proof of verification to a separate service, like DeepSafe, which then settles transactions in batches on the layer one chain. And this approach brings over 90% savings in transaction costs for layer two chains like zero knowledge rollups, by allowing them to focus on executing transactions without dedicating their resources to proof of verification. We have transaction verification layering. So in this case, what we use is a multi-layered approach, where transactions are first validated on one layer using smaller blocks or sidechains, while a secondary layer conducts more complex verification processes. So this reduces congestion on the main blockchain and improves scalability by processing more transactions simultaneously across the network. Security and incentives. So, of course, verification networks mainly maintain security through economic incentives. So we have rewards, of course, validators who participate honestly and contribute to the network security typically receive cryptocurrency rewards for transaction fees or newly minted coins. We have penalties. So if we have dishonest validators, they'll face penalties, including losing portions of their stake or being temporarily or permanently banned from validating. And so this creates a strong economic disincentive against malicious behavior. Some of the key benefits of verification include immutability. So once verified and recorded, transactions become immutable and cannot be modified or deleted, as we know from a blockchain. We have decentralization, which distributes validation control among participants, and so this reduces a single point of failure. Transparency, of course, which all verification actions are recorded on chain, and this creates an auditable trail. And then scalability, right? So dedicated verification layers allow the networks to handle increasing transaction volumes more efficiently without having to, like I said before, dedicate some of their resources to validation. Um, so how does DeepSafe help verification, right? So DeepSafe network represents an advanced cryptographic random AI verification network. And what we do is we implement cutting edge verification infrastructure for blockchain and AI applications. And the platform addresses critical trust and security challenges across Web3 and emerging AI ecosystems. And through the innovative CRVA, which you know are crypto random verification agents, mechanism is how we achieve this. So from a technical architecture, our core innovation centers on our CRVA mechanism, which integrates four advanced technologies, as you know. We talked about this during the last stream. So we have the Ring VRF, which allows the random selection of verification nodes on the network and forms a verification committee. And this ensures that the process remains unpredictable and that it remains distributed and random, like its name says. And unlike traditional verification networks that explicitly, let's say, designate validators, nodes in DeepSafe remain unaware of which validators are selected, so fundamentally eliminating collusion possibilities in targeted attacks. We have MPC, which stands for multi-party computation, which enables secure distributed computing where multiple parties jointly compute functions while keeping their inputs private, essentially for collaborative verification without exposing sensitive data. So of course that is very important. The multi-party computation also allows for the continuity of the system. So should we have some nodes that are offline or deemed to be malicious, we have a redundancy in the number of CRVAs that form a committee. And that way we will always guarantee continuity by making sure that there are enough validators in a committee that can validate the transaction or whatever it is that they are looking into, and making sure that there is continuity. We use zero knowledge proof, or ZKP, or ZK proof, which you might have heard of, which just allows a verification of information without revealing the underlying data itself. So it provides mathematically provable security while maintaining privacy. So, when nodes are conducting or validating transactions, they don't know what they are validating. And so this, of course, creates a disincentive for the nodes to try to, let's say, hack a transaction or a block because they don't know what's in it. And so by not knowing how much they're going to try to take from the system, it makes it a huge disincentive to try to hack a transaction or a block of transactions that might contain very little rewards for them. So then we have the trusted execution environment, the TEE. And what this does, it creates almost like an enclave within the processor where sensitive computation occurs in isolation. So it protects the verification process from external interference. And this is a requirement for the nodes in the DeepSafe network, which is making sure that they are conducting all of the activities related to DeepSafe, whether it be transaction validation or other, to be executed in a TEE. And what this does is if the node operator, for some reason, figured out that they are part of a committee, tried to tamper with the information, then of course they wouldn't be able to because this is conducted in a trusted execution environment. And so the CRVA mechanism operates, on three core principles. The first one being anonymity. So both validator identities and verification content remains strictly confidential. Then we have dynamic rotation. So the verification committee is regularly and randomly reorganized. And then, of course, we have the threshold control, which only a certain percentage of nodes must reach consensus, providing resilience against individual node failure or malicious actors, as I mentioned before. So the strategic evolution of DeepSafe and positioning, we've gone, let's say, from a cross-chain solution to a comprehensive verification network infrastructure provider. We began, as you know, as a cross-chain technology, launching BRC20's cross-chain bridge in February of 24. We completed the EVM cross-chain functionality in June of 2024 and integrated Fractal Bitcoin in September of 2024. So this cross-chain foundation provided the perfect testing ground for CRVA's decentralized verification capabilities. And so what we've done now is enhanced verification through trustless verification, as I mentioned before, cross-chain verification, so we can make sure that the information in chains that are not compatible themselves is correct and is properly verified. We can provide the unpredictable security. So by making validator selection unpredictable through the Ring VRF, we address the key management dilemma, where verification authorities concentrate in fixed nodes, which creates attack surfaces. So the system achieves unpredictable, untraceable, and untargetable verification with the mathematical assurance that I mentioned before. One of the big things that we had originally, and we still, of course, do, is the Bitcoin self-custody. And what this does is through the infrastructure based on the taproot, time lock, and CRVA mechanisms, it allows decentralized custody powered by the dynamic committees so that transparent proof of reserve using zero knowledge proofs and trustless Bitcoin DeFi is possible in the BTC network. There's been a lot of use cases that we can look at. So DeFi and financial applications, as I mentioned before, cross-chain bridges, which are one of blockchain's most critical challenges in terms of security, and one of the big service areas for our network. Stablecoin infrastructure, of course, has always been an important one, not only because we use CRVAs, but also the taproot function to create trustless and transparent custody solutions. Restaking and liquid staking, this is very important for us because we allow a flexible restaking mechanism where validators can provide security to multiple protocols simultaneously. Um, AI and machine learning, AI agent accountability, um, AI generated content authentication, which has become increasingly important, decentralized AI identity. So each AI agent receives a unique decentralized identifier, so DID, enabling it to authenticate and interact with each other in a trustless manner. So the verification network can use cryptographically signed credentials, providing AI agents proving, sorry, that AI agents are trained on specific databases or adhere to ethical guidelines. So as you can imagine, this has become more and more important. We have things like decentralized identity management, KYC and AML compliance, credential verification, um, bot and Sybil attack prevention, supply chain and IoT. The list goes on and on. I invite you all to visit our website and look at the latest news. And of course, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them via email. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next stream. Like always, if you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to reach out. And we look forward to having you participate in the community activities that are currently taking place. Have a great day.